nerds, what's up? And welcome back to my episode by episode book versus show for season 2 of Amazon Prime's Wheel of Time. Today we are covering episode 2. If you want to see episode 1, you can check out my channel or in the description box below where I will have it linked. Without further ado, let's get to it. Yeah, okay, Rand still is having dreams in the book, so that's normal. Okay. I actually laughed out loud when I saw Celine. I'm sorry, I don't mean this in a rude way, but I just find her introduction so hilarious. They're sleeping together. Oh my gosh. No, that is not at all how it was in The Great Hunt. In general, the show has definitely aged up the characters, sexualized the characters, definitely made them way, way less innocent than the book. And I particularly find this with Rand. Rand is very innocent in the book, so this is just very funny to me. But Rand meets Celine for the first time on the hunt for the horn with all the others. He does find her extremely beautiful. She is weirdly kind of obsessed with him. She does kind of try to seduce him. He is just so innocent though, so he's very obsessed, kind of white knighty with her, oh, I can help her, but she's preying on that purposely. So it's a very different vibe, everything. It's funny. This is not the relationship at this point at all. And obviously Rand is not in Carrion at this point in the book. He's with everybody else on the hunt for the horn. I just shouldn't say that anymore. You get it. They're all together on the hunt for the horn. Okay, yes, Perrin can't see the past like this. We covered that last time with his powers. You'll find about them later, but this isn't something he can do in the books anyway. Yep, Rand is not working in a mental health hospital. He's with the boys. This Blade Master character doesn't exist, this whole hospital thing. Although I think it's interesting that they're trying to kind of reintroduce the Heron-marked sword and the Blade Master through him. That's interesting because that is something that is significant in the book, but not with this character. Liandrin and Nynaeve don't train together. Again, she's not here in this capacity, although healing is important to Nynaeve. That's vital to her storyline, so I do like that they're trying to set that up. So we meet Elaine way earlier in the books. We meet her in book 1, and it's with the entire crew. Specifically, Elaine and Rand have a lot of moments together, and I talked about this in my season 1 recaps because we skip over a whole city, Camelin. Actually, we skipped over a lot of cities, but anyway, we skipped over a huge portion of Camelin where we meet the queen and obviously the daughter heir, Elaine, and she was traveling with them. So Egwene and her would have already been friends at this point. So Varen does get brought into Moiraine's confidence, actually with the Emerald seat, about the stuff they're concerned about in a very different circumstances. But Varen ends up going and following Mat, Perrin, and Rand as they search for the horn. And tries to help Rand specifically. And you know what? That might still happen, so I'm sorry. That might still happen. It's a very different order of things of how we see Varen. Yeah, obviously Rand isn't attacking people like this at this point. And I don't know, this just doesn't feel like Rand, because Rand's journey is he does get very angry as the Dragon Reborn, and it does happen. This just feels very early on before we've really established kind of the more naive, gentle Rand. So I think it's an interesting choice because I feel like it's just happening too early in the scope of what I think of as Rand's character arc personally. Liandrin and this man is not a thing. Is this supposed to be her son because she doesn't age and he is, because she does call him my beautiful boy? But yeah, in the books, Liandrin doesn't have a son, but isn't old enough. She isn't that ageless that she's old enough for this to happen. She's not very old in the books. So Min is at the White Tower with the gals because Moiraine asked her to come and know she's there, and she gets to kind of hang out with them. She is not being kept in a cell by Liandrin. That is not the thing at all. So yeah, Min and Mat do not interact in this way. They are not together in this way. This is not a thing in any sort of way. So this story about how they met and became a partnership is sort of close. I couldn't hear what city they said they met in. I rewinded it several times. I couldn't hear. But in the books, they meet in Kandor, and she was following him and his entire crew. And yeah, and he throws her in the pond, but then she uses the one's power to take up the pond and soak him back. So, they got the generals. I talked about this last season. This is not how Min's visions work at all. She usually sees symbols around people's heads, and sometimes she can interpret them and sometimes she can't. It's never this straightforward. I can't pinpoint it really, but Egwene and Nynaeve's relationship feels different. I think in the book, I feel like Egwene understood a little bit more what was going on with Nynaeve. It felt like they were less viewed as peers. Egwene viewed Nynaeve as older than her because of her position in the town. I don't know, something just feels a little different in the books about that. I wish I could articulate it more. Okay, I just can't get over how rude Moiraine is being to Lan right now. This is not okay. So Moraine and Lan did kind of have tiffs in the book. And it was specifically happening, in my opinion, like if my memory serves me, in The Dragon Reborn more than in The Great Hunt, so book 3. And there was something that Moraine set up about Alanna taking Lan's warder bond over. And Lan was really mad about that. Like, what, you're just giving me away? And Moraine was like, well, I don't want you to avenge me. I don't want your life to end when my life does. And then he's kind of responding like, you're acting like you're already dead and you're not. And it's just, so it's there, like the anger is there, but it's so much more respectful. There's so much more love behind it, it feels like. Like Moraine is frustrating Lan a lot and kind of keeping him out, but she's just not so rude. Like, it's just a different vibe, I think, completely. So I covered this, I think, last season, but I'll go over again. The Seanchan don't look like this. The Dominé don't have the mouth guards. They're leashed and collared instead, and like the people controlling them wear flame dresses. And Perrin and the crew in the books don't run into them here like this. We actually first really kind of see them with the gals, but that might still happen, so I won't give it away as a plot point. But this is definitely not how we meet Seanchan. So Logain is at the White Tower after he is stilled. He is definitely not allowed to leave the White Tower. They wouldn't just let him wander off like this and go put him in some like random hospital. He is kept on the grounds of the White Tower at all times and is watched because stilled people can often, unalive themselves. So they're kept watch. So this is kind of a random place to have him. Okay, some thoughts after seeing episode 2. Mostly my biggest surprise is how slow I feel like they are going. If this is another 8-episode season, I just do not feel like in 2 hours of TV we have covered enough ground, particularly when I am thinking of like Mat, Perrin, and Rand. I am shocked that we still do not have Perrin's wolf storyline sorted out. How are we still, I feel like, this far from figuring that out? I am shocked that we didn't like get that in episode 1, especially like once they introduced Elias. So that's really surprising me. I'm actually less worried about Mat because, Mat's storyline doesn't really pick up until The Dragon Reborn, in my opinion. So I'm the least worried about kind of Mat's storyline. I think they have time there. But Rand and Perrin, in my opinion, should be much further along or in different positions. I think they're trying to get Rand there, actually. Perrin's probably the one I'm most worried about. Rand, they're just not giving him any screen time, which I just think is a very bizarre choice for the main character of the book series. And I've expressed that before. So I hope we just start getting more screen time with Rand. Now, I'd love to hear the opinions of any of you who are watching who have not read the books and are just watching to kind of figure out how they're different. I'd love to know what you think about Mat's storyline, because I personally think Mat's storyline is getting very lost. Now, this isn't necessarily their fault, but we had the actor leave, and now we've switched actors, and they also made the kind of weird decision to heal him, at least as far as I know, and how he's acting last time. So now it's kind of feeling, because doesn't it seem to you guys, you tell me, it seems like Mat is healed. Mat kind of feels like he's back to this kind of like lighthearted, funny, like joking with Min kind of thing. So now I feel like for viewers who haven't read the book, it must be confusing because they start with kind of an already dark Mat. And then he gets the dagger, so he turns darker, but I think it was kind of hard to tell because he was already kind of that way. Then he gets healed so fast, then he stays behind and leaves, and then there's this 6-month jump where now he's kind of back to jovial Mat. But we also have a new actor. So like part of me is wondering, are people like, oh, the new actor's just playing Mat really differently? I just don't know how they're gonna, maybe they're just throwing away that storyline. And you know what? Maybe that's just the best option at this point, and they can just go full force into his whole Lux storyline. But yeah, I'm curious. I'd love to know if you haven't read the books, because I just think that storyline's getting totally lost. Again, they had a lot of things to deal with Mat, so I understand that's not completely their fault, but I am confused at where we're gonna go. I am very bothered by Moraine and Lan's relationship, which is very funny because I was just recently on the Dusty Wheel as a guest, which was so great. Please go watch that video. We had a great time. And I specifically talked about how I thought they nailed Moraine and Lan's relationship in season 1. And I'm just floored. These first 2 episodes are not at all how I view their relationship. And I really, really hate how rude they continue to make Moraine. I just don't like it. So that is probably my biggest disappointment with this episode. Overall, at the end of 2 episodes, I'm fine. I don't hate it. I don't feel like very strong, like, oh my gosh, this is so bad. Like, I don't feel that way at all. I'm more just like, where are we going? we need to get places. And I don't know if we're getting there quick enough. But yeah, okay, we're fine. I see that we could get somewhere. I think it's interesting how they're kind of combining some Dragon Reborn and Great Hunt stuff together. I think one other issue I'm seeing with pacing is because they have chosen to keep Rand, Mat, and Perrin separated instead of together like in the books, we are having to cut back between a lot of storylines, which I think isn't helping them move the plot along because we have people in every single different place. So I'll be curious if they're gonna try to get them together soon because I think that will benefit the show. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on episode 2. Please let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you like these kind of videos, please like and subscribe. That's the best way to support me. And also the best way to follow along if you want to see every show versus episode for season 2. And then if you want to see what I'm currently reading as well as other nerdy rants, you can check me out on Instagram at bookborn.reviews. I'll see you next time. Bye.